What up? What up? This is Ace the OG. Back on the topic, back on the video. So the title of this video is going to be, why do women file for divorce more than men? So admin notes, thanks again to subscribe to the channel. I endeavor to keep pushing the video out. Give you leverage to better yourselves. So let's get into it. So why do women file for divorce more than men? So I've seen a couple of videos about this, over a period of time, a couple of months, maybe even a couple of years, since I've been, watching social media regularly, and then of course created a YouTube channel, which actually forced me to watch videos even more to better myself, to increase and to better my delivery when it comes to me making videos, right? Just kind of emulating and taking tips on how to articulate myself a lot better on video. But when it comes to the topic, and this is just my opinion, right? I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist, so I can't give any marital advice or anything like that. But being married for a little bit over 20 years, I do have some advice that could be relatable to yours, and it could help out some folks, whatever. But take it with a grain of salt, because every marriage is different. Every woman and every man is different. So what worked for me may not work for you, but it could give you perspective on as far as how to move forward when it comes to certain things, especially if something is negative, is happening in your marriage at this time. So, like I said, just my opinion, I believe that most women marry a man for happiness, whereas most men marry women for legacy and because it makes sense, right? So let me explain both aspects when it comes to that. So, just like a lot of women can relate to what I'm saying, what I'm about to say, and I'm pretty sure men that know women understand this as well. From a very, very early age, women are watching cartoons, seeing family members and all these other things, and like these, little girls at a very early age dream about getting married. They already know what dress they're going to wear. They already know what colors they're going to have. They possibly know what kind of music they're going to play. All these things, right? Like that's a really feasible and a desired goal when it comes to women, and even little girls, right? Because at a very early age, women are thinking about these things, whereas men could care less about that. If we have a little sister, we may see cartoons and and TV shows or whatever that's showing these things. But let me tell you something, women. Men, little boys, for the most part, could care less. Could care less than less about marriage. Most of the time, in any part of our childhood, we just don't think about that. You know what I'm saying? I know, when I was younger, me and another little girl that lived in my she didn't live in my backyard, but in the projects, that two rows would have backyards facing each other, right? So I remember this little dark-skinned girl, her grandmother lived behind us, and she didn't live there, but her mom would drop off, every other weekend, and a lot of times she would stay for like a month during the summer. I remember this clearly. And I made friends with her very early. We probably saw each other the first time when I was like 6 or something, right? And I had a best friend that lived like a couple rows down from me, a couple of houses down from me in the same row. So all three of us would be outside, and there was this huge tree in the backyard where our backyards face each other, and we would play house, right? I was the husband, she was the wife, and and we wasn't like doing any touchy-feely anything like that, you know what I'm saying? But we literally played out oh, what we gonna do about the kids today? Who gonna pick the groceries up? All these other things, right? So all in all, women, they think about these things at a really early age, whereas men don't do that, right? So I think that for a lot of women, I think that they derive their happiness. They think they're gonna derive their happiness when it comes to them getting married, right? And having a husband, having children, all these other things. And to be quite honest, I do believe that a lot of women most women in the world, they are the most happy when they're in that position. That's just my personal opinion, right? But the thing is that I think that a lot of times women will get into this type of fairy tale state where they think that once they get married, things supposed to be blissful all the time, and depending on like how emotional the woman is, once it gets to a certain point, they're like, I'm done. Like the fantasy is over, the dream is over, the delusion is over. You know what I'm saying? I'm over it, right? Whereas men, if we go to a woman and ask them for marriage, what I'm saying? We thought this out like for a while. I'm not saying that women don't do the same things for like think about who they're gonna marry. I'm just saying that for men, we not only take our feelings into account, we also take logical sense into account. Let me say this when it comes to men dating women for a long time, and women take heed to this. I'm telling you, if you're a woman right now watching this video and you've been dating your guy for like 2, 3, 4, 5 years, maybe even longer than that, right? And marriage is like an avoided subject. He's never going to marry you. I'm sorry to break that to you, but he's not going to marry you. And I'm going to tell you one of the main reasons why. He's not going to marry you because it doesn't make sense to him to marry you. Let me say that again. He's not going to marry you because he doesn't think it makes sense for him to marry you. Meaning that there's something that's missing in the relationship. Maybe not anything wrong with you, but there may be something missing in the relationship where, from a logical perspective, he doesn't feel like that it's worth getting married to you, right? Because, you could be the best sex he ever had in his life. You could be the best person that he's ever dated before. But in his brain, something is not right. And because he's thinking from a logical perspective, he's never going to marry you. Now, there are situations where some men will not marry their woman because they feel like they haven't arrived yet and they haven't got their money up yet for them to take care of their woman. So that is the case, because I've seen a lot of men like that. Like they wanted to marry their woman a long time before they got married eventually, but they was trying to hold off and try to get their money up. I totally get that. When it comes to that, a woman just have to have a, I guess, not necessarily a timeline in their mind, but they have to have like a breaking point. You know what I'm saying? Like they have to be in a position to where like, okay, I believe he's trying to wait till he get his money up, you know what I'm saying? But I'm not going to wait for so long, So if he doesn't make any type of strides towards success within the next year, 2 years, then I'm out. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully he gets his money up, before that time, right? But that is a real situation. But for the most part, most couples that I've seen that never got married, and they've been together for like almost a decade, even longer, the man does not see in his logical mind that it makes sense for him to marry you. Now, whatever makes sense, I do not know. You have to ask him, right? But, and this is one of the reasons why women divorce men more than men divorce women. Because, like I said, a lot of times when it comes to marriage, women derive their happiness based off of marriage to a certain degree. And once the happiness is gone, it's very hard for them to stay in that position. But the problem is that a lot of women that divorce their husband for whatever reason, you know what I'm saying? Like, if it's domestic violence, if he's like a violent person in general, by all means, do what you got to do to protect yourself and your kids if y'all have kids. So I'm not telling any woman to stay in an abusive relationship. I'm not saying that at all. But when the blissful, like, fairy tale story is over and reality sets in, a lot of women can't handle that. Whereas a man will stay miserable in a relationship, in a marriage, because it still makes sense for him to stay married to you. I think women don't understand, like in certain marriages, how miserable a husband can be and how miserable your guy can be, and he will not leave you. Now, if he's cheating, that's something different. You know what I'm saying? And as a guy speaking from that perspective, what I would tell you is that a lot of times, 9 times out of 10, the woman that he's cheating with, he could care less about that woman. He love you, but he want to smash her. You know what I'm saying? So, but women have their own limitations or whatever. So I'm not saying for you to accept a guy cheating on you. I'm not saying it at all. All I'm saying is that I think when women think that because the man cheated that he puts the woman that he cheated with on the same level as you, it's not even a comparison. That's the reason why they call side chicks. You know what I'm saying? Because they're gonna stay the side like forever. They're never gonna get elevated to your status. But I understand the reason why women don't accept those things. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, that you got standards, keep your standards. I'm not saying for you to lower them at all. But there's been so many divorces that have been played out on social media over the last few years. Case in point, Cardi B and Offset, right? I'm not sure if they're legally separated now, but they've been going back and forth for the last couple of days, and it's not a good look. You know what I'm saying? Because they got kids. We don't want our kids to see us acting a fool. You know what I'm saying? Like, early in my marriage, when me and my wife ever got into some type of argument, which we never really got into like a very, very serious argument. If we did, it was away from the kids. Like, as soon as I felt like the heat was getting turned up, I was like, hey, even when our kids were infants, I did not want us arguing around them, because kids are smarter than what you think they are. They really are. But yeah, those are some of the reasons why I believe women divorce men more than men divorce women. It's a happiness thing. Whereas a man, I'm not saying that a man don't want to be happy in a marriage. I'm not saying it at all. I'm not saying that men expect to be miserable in a marriage. I'm not saying it at all either. All I'm saying is that when you look at all these breakups and these divorces that have been played out on social media, for the most part, the guy did not want the divorce. Even if he'd been messing up, even though he might have treated the girl wrong and everything, whatever, he still did not want to divorce his wife. But the wife couldn't take it because the happiness was gone, right? And it was a feeling. See, men don't get moved by feelings more than women do. You know what I'm saying? Women would feel something and take action. Whereas a man may feel something, but he holds off on action. And he looks at it from a logical perspective more than the woman does. Most divorces that happen when it comes to a woman divorcing a man is based off of how the woman felt. It did not make sense for her to divorce him. It just didn't. When you look at most of those marriages or whatever, it did not make logical sense for her to divorce him. But because of how she felt, she divorced him. And you got a lot of women out there that they got divorced and they're happy. Kudos to them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wish happiness on everybody. So if divorce made you happy, that's what God wants us to be. He wants us to be happy. So I'm not saying for you to go out there and find your husband or get back with your husband. If you're happy, stay happy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have no dog in the fight when it comes to that. All I'm saying is that a lot of women don't think divorce from a holistic perspective when it comes to them taking that action. And a lot of times the woman, she regrets it. She does. Whereas the guy didn't want it in the first place. And he's sitting over here looking stupid, you know what I'm saying? Because, and like I said, it could have been something he did. It could have been, who knows, you know what I'm saying? Not to say that women just divorced a man just for GP. Of course, the guy probably did something. He made her feel some kind of way, or did something that made her get into her emotions to the point where, like, you know what? I'm not treated right. I'm not being treated right. I'm not being respected. I'm not being appreciated. So because I feel this way, I cannot be with you no more, and I'm gonna divorce you. But the problem is that God did not want us to divorce based off of feeling. But anyways, I don't want to make the video too long. I may do a part 2 about this. But that's some of the reasons why I believe women divorce men more than men divorce women. So drop some comments in the comment section. Let me know what you think. It's a topic that's definitely been thrown around social media for a while now, especially with the recent situation with Cardi B and Offset. So I really want to hear your thoughts about it. All right. So if you want me to discuss a topic or subject that benefits your channel, email me at findingfitnessfolk@gmail.com. My email address is in the description below. This is Ace OG, signing out. I'm gone.